Hello, my name is Travis. That's spelled T-R-A-V-E-S. Yes, I do realize that it is spelled incorrectly. The reason being is my mother was not only drunk the night I was conceived, but also the night I was born, and at all the other vital points during my childhood when she should have been raising me and teaching me how not to eat and basic hygiene and how to dress myself is no. Alright, and I realized that having a name like that, T-R-A-V-E-S, is odd, and it's probably a fucked up, confusing, weird name. But I also have a fucked up, confusing, weird last name. It's spelled B-E-Z-E-N-A-R. Try to pronounce it. It's pronounced Bezaner, but I've heard everything from Bezener to fucking Beezer to banana. How the fuck do you even come up with banana from that? You can go to a whole syllable and 3 letters and you add some shit. You can put your zip code in there and still not get banana. That's how fucked up my name is. And for everyone out there watching, I've developed a test for yourself to find out if you have a fucked up name. What you have to do is, next time you're making love to a woman, and just as she's about to climax, just as she's, right there, look deep into her eyes and just as you're just, oh, yeah, oh, say, what's my name, baby? And if it takes that woman any longer than 15 seconds to respond, or the next thing out of her mouth sounds like Eiffel 65 lyrics, then you got a fucked up name, buddy. A fucked up name. And you might not believe that this works, but trust me, I've tried it. Well, one night I was giving it to my girlfriend, and she was getting pretty good, and she was enjoying it. Like, she was like, oh yeah, oh, and I was like, I just figured it, what the fuck. Say my name, baby. And all that she came up with was like, and I jumped off of her and I said, listen, Mom, that is not cool. You should totally know my name by now. And I know, incest joke, a little racy, but MILFs are hot. It's alright to fuck moms as long as you're not your own mom. Just gonna put it that way. Alright, and secondly, the next thing I'd like to talk to you guys about today is racism. And more importantly, the term reverse racism, because it doesn't actually exist. When a white person is racist against someone of color or someone of another gender or whatever, they're a racist. Now, why should it be any different term for someone who is of a minority to hate white people or hate another minority? It's still racism. Let's be serious, people. In fact, there is no one in this world that is more racist than old black people. I can prove this. The other day, I was downtown Toronto. I got on the bus, and there was this old lady, like Rosa Parks old, sitting on the very front seat of the bus. I was walking by, and for almost no reason at all, she said, "You fucking cracker devil! You're nothing but a devil cracker!" And I was like, "Geez, lady, chill out." I don't know what I did to upset her. All I said was, "Move your black ass to the back of the bus where you belong," and she lost her stuff. Like, seriously, I'm just trying to be a good guy. Let all the white people sit in the front of the bus, let all the black people sit in the back of the bus. I don't see what's wrong with that. Luckily, the German bus driver, Hans, or whatever the hell his name was totally alright with that and moved her ass to the back. No, I kid. That never really happened. That would be terrible if it did, if I were to say something like that. I don't condone racism at all. In fact, I've only ever said the N-word once, and I had a pretty good reason. I'm going to tell you why. Beforehand, I just want to go into a little bit about the N-word. I don't like saying it. I'm going to say it, so please, black people, don't lynch me. It's just for fun. Please don't stab me. You could, and you probably wouldn't hurt anything because I got like shit to protect me. But please, for your safety, for my safety, for the decency of comedy and of just my fat ass not getting stabbed, it's a joke. Alright. It is a true story, though. Anyway, I was, my mom, who I mentioned before, was not the best role model growing up. She kind of slept around a little bit, smoked a lot of pot. Which, pretty cool mom, I guess, for some people. Not when it's your mom. So, anyway, me and 2 of my buddies were chilling at my house when I was like 15 years old. And my mom and her boyfriend were in an argument in the other room. When all of a sudden, I hear my mom scream, and I swear to God this happened. You don't even look me in the eyes anymore when I'm sucking your dick. That's what she said. At a very high decibel level, normally reserved for jet engines and fucking explosions. Both my friends who overheard it, and we all looked at each other, and we didn't want to say anything, or at least I didn't want them to say anything, so we just pretended we didn't hear it. So she came in and stormed out of the fucking apartment, and my friends both left. And so I sat down with my mom's boyfriend, who I really didn't like. He was a huge douchebag. His name was like Philip or Stevie, I can't fucking remember so many of them, but this guy was just like, you know, he sounded like one of those surfers from the 90s, like, hey, dude. It's just what he fucking sounded like. He even looked like just fucking and he was on fucking steroids, like built like a shithouse. Fucking big, ugly, surfy, douchey motherfucker, right? So I'm sitting down talking to him about it and telling him, you know, it's not cool when I have people over for you to act like that, or for her to act like that. You know, I have a certain reputation to uphold. And anyway, we get into a pretty heated argument, and, you know, he calls me fat, and, like, obviously I'm fat, but that's not something you tell a 15-year-old kid. So next thing I know, we're in this big heated argument, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just pops up and is like, yeah, well, your mom sucks dick like a champ. And I'm like, what? And I was so mad. In that second, I hated him so much. I couldn't think of anything else to say than, you fucking nigger! That's what I screamed at him, because in that second, I hated him so much that I wanted to own him and the generations that came after him and before him. That's how angry I was. I wanted to own him as property so I could kick the fucking shit out of him. This drives me crazy. Now, on the same subject, I've only ever heard someone else say the N-word once. Like, I've heard lots of times in rap songs, like DMX drops that shit, like, fucking all the time. But the only other time I've actually heard someone say it was when I was in, like, I don't know, like junior high maybe. And I grew up in a small hick town with like one black kid. But this was a black kid. He was straight out of like Africa. The only problem was this kid, I can't remember his name, like Mahombo or Jimbo or some, we'll just call him Jimbo for fuck's sakes. He was really black colored, but he acted like a really white kid. He's sort of an Oreo, black on the outside, white on the inside. On a scale from like blackness to whiteness, he was somewhere between Carlton and the Jonas Brothers. Like, this motherfucker was white. And we also had another kid at our school who was really white, but acted like he was black. His name was Tony. And Tony one day just decided he had had enough of Jimbo's bullshit, or as he called it, you know, bringing his people down, catering to the white man. Anyway, so they just go at it one day. And I don't know why Tony thought it would be okay. I guess because we grew up in an all-white person town. He says, Jimbo, you're nothing but a fucking, you know, N-word. And the next thing that happened will stay burnt in my mind forever. Jimbo's shirt disappeared. Like, he didn't take it off. It was just gone. And he was fucking ripped all of a sudden. Like, he wasn't a big kid, but all of a sudden he looked huge. And he got really black. Like, you know, he went from Carlton to fucking DMX to Mike Tyson to Michael Vick black. He was just fucking beating dogs and fucking fat white women all over the place. And he got right up on top of Tony. He started beating the fucking shit out of him. Just beating the fucking shit out of him. And that's pretty much what happened. And everyone on the playground turned to a different race when it happened. Like, there's a bunch of kids who turned Mexican. They're like, yeah, kick his ass and say fucking kill him. There were some Chinese kids who weren't really Chinese taking bets on it over there, and it was fucked up. Near the end of the fight, when Tony was just wrecked, Jimbo was on top of him, just beating the fucking crap out of him. And Jimbo looked deep into his eyes and he said, who's your daddy now, bitch? And all that Tony could say was, that's all I get to say.